Hello, and welcome to Ghosts of the White Mountains. I'm your host, Sarah the Brave. Today we're going to North Conway, New Hampshire, and visit a historical house that once belonged to and may still be haunted by Lady Blanche. One of my earliest memories was driving past the Lady Blanche house with my family, and was told that the house under the cliffs was haunted. I was terrified to look in the windows. I always thought I was going to see something looking back at me. Lady Blanche, Elizabeth, Mary, Annunciata, Noel, which is the fanciest name ever, was born on March 25, 1845 at Exton Hall in England, the daughter of Charles George Noel, 2nd Earl of Gainsborough, and Lady Ida Harriet Augusta Hay, which is not as good a name, and godchild of Queen Victoria. I would lead with that, actually. If people ask me who I am, just godchild of Queen Victoria, that's it. She was a highborn lady that fell in love with a commoner. Thomas Murphy was the organist at the church on the Earl's estate. We can only imagine how the young lady fell in love with a talented musician and shock of her entire family. On top of that, he was Irish, which was not an awesome thing to be at the time in England. I mean, it is now. It's cool here, not there. In fact, the Earl in his anger disowned and disinherited his daughter, forbidding her ever to return to her home or to see his face, a command which tragically came true. So Lady Blanche, which is what we're going to call it from now on because she has a parade of names and it sounds so much better, Lady Blanche turned from the honors and inheritance due to the eldest daughter of a great house and gave it all up for love. Which, if I had a great house coming to me, I'm just saying. She married Thomas on March 6, 1870, and the lady and commoner eloped to America. They settled in a cottage under a huge cliff, Humphrey's Ledge, in the beautiful countryside of North Conway, New Hampshire. Thomas taught music at the Kearsarge School for Boys. Lady Blanche herself was also talented. She was a noted writer who contributed short stories, many of them travelogues, to various publications, including Harper's and the Atlantic Monthly. They were happily married and loved by the local community, especially Lady Blanche, who was known for her kindness and generosity. Unfortunately, Lady Blanche passed away at the age of 35 in 1881, only 11 months after moving into her dream home. Earl of Gainsborough never recovered from the shock of his daughter's death and also died a few months later. And I feel bad about it, but he kind of had it coming to him, because he was a jerk. But since Lady Blanche's passing, the locals have reported seeing peculiar activities at her house, and for decades it was whispered and known to be a haunted place. A lady in white was seen wandering around the house, up on the roof sometimes, and looking wistfully into the mists. So here's a couple theories we've come up with. Theory 1. Native American spirits and energy. The Lady Blanche house is located at the base of Humphrey's Ledge. The rivers and streams around Humphrey's Ledge contain curious circular stone cavities known by local Native American tribes as the home of the water fairies. Native tradition says evil water sprites inhabited the ledges, tormenting the Sokoke's Indians until a mountain god answered the Indians' prayers and swept the sprites away in a flood. But it still seems like there's a negative energy and sprites that remain in the area. Another Native American legend about the area involved a friendly native chieftain named Chikarawa. Even though Chikarawa had advocated for peace among native peoples and the white settlers, many Native Americans were killed, and there was even a bounty offered for any white settler who brought in the scalp of a murdered Native American. One day, a money-hungry white hunter pursued peaceful Chief Chikarawa to the top of a mountain. Chikarawa pleaded his case that he and his followers had always been friendly to the white settlers, but the hunter wanted his money. In a final act of desperation, the good Chief Chikarawa cursed all generations of white men living in the valley and then jumped off the ledges to his death. Since then, many disasters have afflicted the settlers in the area, including avalanches, landslides, mysterious illnesses. Could Lady Blanche be another victim of this ancient curse? And if the curse isn't bad enough, could it be that the evil water spirits also torment the occupants of the house under the ledge, binding their souls even after death? Theory 2. The Willy Family, a history of tragedy. When Lady Blanche bought the house, it was already 90 years old. It was built by Samuel Willy in 1790. Incredibly, this is the same Willy family that was later killed in the tragic Willy House landslide disaster of 1826. What happened was, the Willy family moved from the Lady Blanche house further up in the valley near Mount Washington, where they constructed a new house on another rocky hillside. Apparently, this is just a family of mountain goats that they just gotta live on the side of a rock. So one day, the family heard a horrific roaring sound outside the house. In terror, the family fled the house, but they were all killed by a landslide of the falling boulders. Bizarrely, the house itself was left unharmed. So they hear this noise, they go running outside to escape, the noise, I guess, and then they're just all run over by boulders. I mean, lesson learned, stay where you are. You hear weird noise, just get in the doorway. The Willy family tragedy is a creepy story on its own, which I'll go into the details in another video. The historical connection is incredible. I was literally stunned when I discovered that the ill-fated Willy family had actually constructed the haunted Lady Blanche house. That means that the original owners of the Lady Blanche house were all tragically killed in a rockside 50 years before Lady Blanche and her husband moved in. Could it be that the ghosts of the Willy family were confused about being killed in a landslide and now haunt their former home under Humphrey's Ledge? Perhaps Lady Blanche isn't the only ghostly resident to inhabit the cottage under the cliffs. Theory 3. A lady's last wish. After being banished from England by her father, Lady Blanche traveled around the world searching for a home. When she laid eyes on a dream house in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, she finally found a place to put down roots with her new husband. But, tragically, Lady Blanche died just 11 months after moving in. After so many years of wishing for a place to call home, it's highly likely that Blanche's spirit simply wasn't ready to leave her newfound cottage by the cliffs. If I had just died, and I had a house that I hadn't really lived in, then I will haunt there, and you need to get used to it. Though her body was sent back to lie beside her mother at the family estate in England, her spirit is still hanging on to the loving home she was just starting to settle into with her husband and the life they could have had that was cut short. Maybe that's why locals say they can still see Lady Blanche's bright, elegant spirit wandering through the meadows under Humphrey's Ledge to this day. So that's it for the Blanche house. Hope everybody enjoyed learning about this weird part of New Hampshire. I'm your host, Sarah the Brave, and I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I like talking. And we'll see you next time.